Hey guys, welcome back to Real Love Scenario.
Whoa, whoa. Hey, all. Happy
I'm
Tuesday.
I'm back. I'm back.
Dre is back. Welcome back, friend.
I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I know
Yes,
that
sir.
I know that y'all had a good time, a few weeks ago, but
The
I
man is
I, I
back
was
in town.
I was able to refresh, get a good vacation in, spend some time with my wife for our
Hmm.
anniversary, and now I'm ready for everything this summer has to offer.
Yes, indeedy. Your vacation looked incredible. I was like, ooh, hoo, hoo, hot and sassy. I love old hot and sassy vacation. Yes, I do. It looked
100%.
lovely. I can't imagine that you didn't feel refreshed. You got a tan. You definitely more chocolatey since the last time I saw you, which is amazing. So happy anniversary again. I'm glad you got the time away.
Thank you. I appreciate that. How was
Yeah.
last week? How did you enjoy it? Or the
Last week
2 weeks
before.
ago? Yeah.
It was good. Yeah. Shout out to Mac, who was a great co-pilot for the week. He gave such good insights from a clinician's perspective and really introduced concepts and perspectives that I just would not have thought of course. And then the part where we got to talking about infidelity and like that he specializes in that as a therapist, I just was like, wow, because I think so many people actually really need to get a person in to help if they're going to stay in the relationship after that. You have to get help. So the fact that he was just again able to share some perspectives around how to manage that, I thought it was great. So it was good. It was good.
Awesome. Awesome. So
Yeah.
great to hear. And
Yeah.
speaking of Mac, I want to highlight our Real Lover review today. So this comes
Okay.
from that episode that you
Mhm.
guys did. And it says, such a great show. Appreciate the dialogue between you both. So shout out to y'all holding down the fort. Shout out to Mac. Thank him again for participating in Real Love Scenario
Yeah.
and adding value to the podcast and for our listeners.
Mhm.
So it's
Yeah.
really
I'm
dope.
so curious to know what our real lover did. We have not received an update. But I want that update badly, badly.
100%.
Yeah.
And if you want to join the Real Lover Gang, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, do all the things to join us. Like I said,
Mhm.
it's free to you, but means a lot to us. So we want to see you in here and join the lives too, so we can have some real dialogue.
Yes, we love when y'all talk to us. We like highlighting your comments. So those of you that are watching now live, drop your name and the city you're joining us from in the chat so we can give you a shout out. We absolutely love doing that.
100%. All right, ready? Rhonda, you ready to hop into our real love scenario for today?
I'm ready. I'm definitely ready.
All right.
Okay, so we hear from a woman who says, "Hi, I'm 24 and I recently ended a 1 year relationship. It's only been a little over 2 weeks, but it feels like much longer. For almost half the relationship, we were long distance. I thought things were fine until we took our first vacation together, and shortly after, he broke up with me. His reasons were that he didn't want to help me with schoolwork or stay up late talking on the phone. We reconnected when he visited home. I offered to let him live with me, fully supported him financially, and encouraged him to focus on his school and his career. But living together showed me how different we are. I'm naturally silly and affectionate, and I work in a deeply emotional job with kids in foster care. I often come home emotionally drained, just needing love and comfort. He wasn't that person for me. Then I found a picture on his phone of him behind his ex while she was in lingerie. He was still messaging her too. I asked him to set boundaries, but instead he pulled away. I became more insecure and asking more questions, and he said he was tired of feeling interrogated. He moved out without saying a word and blocked me. Later, he admitted he's now talking to multiple women and said he likes how easy it is with them because they don't need attention, emotional connection, or check ins. He told me he wants to come home, be left alone, and not have to explain himself. I'm now in therapy, focusing on healing, rebuilding my self worth, and understanding how I got here. I gave so much emotionally, financially, and mentally, and somehow it still wasn't enough. I guess I just want to know, was it me? Or was I trying to love someone who was never capable of giving the same in return? Thanks, girl. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
you.
Thank you for writing in.
What
Whew.
what
It's
a
a
lot
lot of layers there, Rhonda.
lot of them. Lot of them. I was like cringing, but also, been there in some ways, certainly have not been there in other ways, but overall a difficult situation to try to
$100%.
recover from.
So where you want to start with this one?
I think that we should really just jump into the concept of care versus codependency, right? I think uh, it's a cornerstone of being in a relationship, being like caring for someone. I think it's something that you should have. It's something that is necessary. The idea of taking care of one another. I think it makes the relationship special and it's a way to absolutely positively show your love. But I feel like in our real lovers scenario, there became a point where that care went beyond what I think is like healthy and beyond what I think is appropriate for for the commitment level. I was about to say for the length in the relationship, but for the commitment level, because I do want to be mindful, because I definitely want you to get into and explore some of the nuances of your now marriage that started what I would say very hot and heavy when it came to connection. Because so I say that to say I want to be sensitive about timelines because everybody's timeline can be different, but I think you get comfortable with certain things when there's a certain level of commitment. Would you say that that's fair?
Yeah, 100%. I think,
Okay.
like, when we look at this scenario, the first thing I thought was, this is kind of like my situation
Yeah,
with my
yeah,
wife.
yeah.
Like, Brie and I, for those who don't know, we met in March of 2017. And then by May 2017, we were going together, as they say,
Mhm.
um, and made it official. And then
Mhm.
by August 2017, we moved in together. Well, she moved
Mhm.
in with me. And it
Mhm.
was really a situation where she was moving from Cleveland to DC. She kind of overshot like the place that she like the ability to afford the place that she was living. Some things changed with what she was doing with her business, and she needed to find a solution. So one of the solutions that I offered at the time, I wasn't rolling in dough, so I couldn't just pay her rent or nothing like that. And I don't think that would have been a healthy way of doing things anyways. I was
Yeah.
just like, hey, you can move in with me. I'll cover X, Y, and Z while you try to get back on your feet. I think
Mhm.
the main difference though, which I'm glad you changed it from timeline to commitment level, is something that I say often on this show is that, if you want to get a good grade in class, the first thing you have to do is show up to class. Like, there are times to where somebody's in a class to where they need a tutor, they need office hours, they need help. But if that
Mhm.
commitment level is there, you're more willing to aid them and assist them and help them as they're navigating through something that may be a hard subject for them. And I
Yeah.
think that applies in relationships, and that is a difference. Is if the commitment is truly there, then it makes it easier to be like, oh, I can help you get on your feet. I see you're ambitious, but you fell on bad times. Like, then we can start to work it out. But if you're sitting there doing things, right, that people aren't even showing you that they're committed to you, then the odds of that working out in the long run is probably not very high.
Not at all, not at all, and I think, not to jump on this bandwagon, but sometimes it's just true, at least in my perspective. I think because we are just innately nurturers and, innately just we almost expected to like want to be helpful and want to take care of. We're like, you don't know how to do that, I'll help you. Like in your situation, obviously it was not that way. I think obviously you and Brie helped each other in different ways, but in this particular example, it's like she needed something very significant, and then in the scenario he needed something very significant. He needed like shelter and something that was comfortable, and she was able to provide that. But I'm missing the piece of, it felt like a very serious relationship. It felt like something that was warranting that. And when you were already living very long distance and something that just didn't seem super secure, I think opening the doors of your home is a different experience than, let me help you find a place, let me, help God, like, what do you need if you did relocate here, instead of just being like, you could just come live with me.
I think there's two elements of that that really stick out in the first part of that story. Number one is we went on vacation. That's something
Mhm.
my cousin used to always say is like, you need to go on vacation with somebody before you like actually make like a true heavy commitment. And the reason that he said that is because when you're on vacation, you can't avoid a lot of things that you can avoid if you're dating. Like you can go on a
Yeah.
date, go home, talking on the
Mhm.
phone, do that. But being around somebody 24/7, like you start to really understand their habits. Are they clean? Do they do
Yeah.
this? Do they do that? How are they all the time? And it's a great way to evaluate like how is this person really, and does it make sense to truly being in something with them. And then the other part of her of her writing was that um basically, I don't know if she said exactly he was looking for a place to stay,
Mhm.
but what it reminds me of is like, remember we used to do those we used to, when we were doing lease ups, we would go into the office buildings
Yeah.
and like have like the sandwiches and chips and stuff in
Little
the
pop up.
lobby that, yeah,
Yeah.
pop up that we give away for free,
Mhm.
just to make them aware about the, you
The
know, the
community that
new,
was, yeah.
yeah, the new community that was coming up. That's what it reminds me of. It's like I'm hungry and I'm trying to figure out what I want for lunch, and then I'll walk downstairs and I'm like, oh, sure, if it's free, I'll take it. Right.
Mhm. Mhm.
I
Mhm.
was looking for lunch anyway and I was hungry. So this works. So I imagine what, I forgot the age that,
She's 24.
24. So young, right? I imagine it's like, okay, coming back home, I need to find a place to stay. My parents is an option. I could try to get my own place, but work not really commitment. Then out of nowhere, somebody's like, hey, you can stay with me. Then I started to look and say, you know what? That's better than my parents' house.
Right.
And then I can't really afford to do it on my own. So
Mhm.
this works. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like it gives me that type of vibe versus like I really want to build with you. It's just kind of like this it's convenient if you're offering and I ain't gotta pay nothing, or and you know
Mhm.
you'll take care of this, you take care of that. It's like that's a better setup than what I was going to end up having to do. So I'll
Yeah.
take it.
Very true. That's a really, really great analogy. It also gave me pause that the offering to let him move in came after, to your point, to your cousin's point about a vacation. She says they went on a vacation, and after that, he broke up with her. So I'm like, so okay, fine, you reconnect, right? Nothing wrong
Mhm.
with, maybe it just was a bad time, maybe it was a bad trip, maybe something about that moment just went a little wonky. Nelly and Ashanti are showing us that spinning the block is not always the worst idea, right? So okay, months go by. Let's say it's months go by. You reconnect. How do you go from, we were dating, we went on a vacation, you broke up with me, to saw you on a visit when you came back home? Oh, you need a place to stay, you can live with me. It's like,
But
where
the
were all of
reason
the steps in between before we got that far? That's such a big commitment to live with someone.
But even his reasons for breaking up after the vacation have nothing to do with a vacation. His reasons were that he didn't want to help me with schoolwork or stay up late talking on the phone. Like I oh, we always tell women this on this show. It's like men don't like to hurt your feelings.
Mhm.
So they'll tell you things that's not really the reason. Like, and that excuse is definitely a cause for pause because that don't even
Mhm.
make sense.
Mhm. That,
Why
yeah,
why is it even your job to help you with your schoolwork anyway? That ain't that's not like what?
and
And talking on the phone.
maybe she was asking, like, maybe she was asking for that. Like, I'm in school, like, maybe it's like, oh, I'm prepping for an exam, can you help me study? Like normal stuff, but
But that's a conversation, not a breakup thing.
to your point, like, so that's a and again, even if that was his reason, how did you forget that to then be like, oh, come live with me? Like, if he didn't want to talk to you on the phone or help you study for school when y'all were living in different places, my home would not be open to him. You know what I mean? At least not until I at a minimum figured out, like, has he matured in that way? Does he understand that, like, helping me get through school or being my support system during this time is a good indicator of the type of partner he could be? If he's unwilling to do that, then he may not even be like a good partner, which would then tell me I shouldn't live with this person. Like, I think, and I got to give obviously a ton of grace to being 24. It's just certain things some people are more mature than others. We've joked for years with Dre, from Mona calling him dad to just Dre just has always appeared and come across as older. So I think, like, some younger people are just really mature, but most 24-year-olds, you just don't have enough skin in the game or life experiences to know when something is like, no, 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 no. Like, the red flags are massive in this situation where, again, nothing wrong with you maybe reconsidering dating him and allowing some time to really see if what happened the first time won't happen this time. But moving together is an extremely significant commitment. To me, it is, I mean, yes, literal legal marriage is the ultimate, but cohabitating, other than having a child, like, that's the trifecta, right? Living in the same household, having a legal marriage, and having a baby. Those three commitments are very, very, very high. And I just don't think you should do that with someone that you haven't properly vetted. Like, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah, and I think it's you have to differentiate because sometimes people think because when you're in a relationship with somebody and y'all both have separate places, y'all stay over each other's house probably frequently, right? Like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
staying over yours, you're staying over mine. But living together is definitely a completely different thing. Mainly too, because like Rhonda said, it comes with its own level of expectations. It's like it is another step in the relationship. So you are looking at it like, hey, like this relationship is at a different level than what it previous was. Now you have a certain level of expectations or certain expectations that come with that. So
Yeah.
it's a lot to consider,
Mhm.
when you make that decision.
Yeah, and, like, the last thing I'll say on it, it naturally creates a dependency. When you share a home with someone, it should create a healthy dependency, but it's a dependency. You literally know that there's someone else in the house with you. So, like Dre just said, there are expectations, but those expectations are usually rooted in depending on one another. Like, I depend on you to do certain chores around the house. I depend on you to financially contribute to this household, unless the arrangement is that you're not going to. And I think one of the things that I've learned in maturing, if I do live with someone before marrying them, which I probably will, is that I think it's okay to have a written agreement between the two of you around your responsibilities, especially on the financial piece. Not necessarily like, oh, we're going to write out who's going to clean the kitchen and who's going to do the laundry. But when it comes to the, like, financial obligations, I think that it's appropriate to have an agreement between the two of you that is separate from your lease agreement. Or most certainly, I would not suggest buying a house with a boyfriend or girlfriend, but that's neither here nor there. But if you're going to move into a rental, I definitely think the two of you should have an agreement between the two of you that considers all things, the financial splits, but also what happens if this relationship goes south. Do we both break the lease, move out of this place? Do I move out and you keep the place? Like, how will we deal with that? Very similar to a standard prenup, some sort of written agreement that talks about how we manage things around this house in the good and how we'll manage it in the bad.
Yeah, I think one thing to consider and why moving too fast, especially without commitment, is so detrimental to your relationship and why it doesn't line you up for the possibility of success is
Mhm,
because when you take a step, for instance, of moving in with somebody and you take more steps into your relationship,
mhm.
the level of sacrifice that you have to make in order to make that stage of a relationship work and keep the peace in a relationship doesn't really make sense if the other parts of the relationship aren't where they need to be.
Yeah.
Because why would I sacrifice for somebody who's not even committed to me? So now you have this thing in your head like, oh, I would I don't know, clean this or clean up his stuff after he made a mess, or I would cook for him in the house, but he's over here texting his ex-girlfriend. So it's like the level of commitment is not even there. So you can't even make the proper sacrifices in
Yeah.
the home and in that stage of the relationship, because the things that will make you feel comfortable making the sacrifices aren't even there. So it's
Yeah.
like relationships are already hard when two people are committed,
Mhm.
because when those two people are committed, they still have to make sacrifices for one another and put their pride and ego aside. But if
Yeah.
you are in a relationship to where there is no real commitment, there is no real buy-in from both sides of the relationship, then it creates that imbalance of like, I should be sacrificing, but it doesn't even make sense because I don't feel like this person is worth sacrificing for.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Totally. It I can't do it. And yes, there's so many lessons that I did not know at 24, certainly, and I wish I did. It probably could have saved myself some time and some money. But that's really why we're here, to try to help guide you so that realistically, like, this is the first and last time that this happens. But so much of what you just talked about, Dre, is maturity and like understanding that before we just fall into the fluffy feelings of this is my boyfriend and we're going to live together. It is really taking that step back and being like, wait, is this really even my boyfriend? Like, is this actually a commitment, or am I just housing someone? Like, is this just like a boo that needs a place to stay? Is this a hobosexual who is just he need a bed, and so he's willing to play the game, or like you said, get the free sandwich because, well, it was offered to me, and why would I turn that down? This would be an easier option.
Well, question for you.
Mhm.
When it comes to women, do you feel like what a man does to you physically and how he acts toward you physically probably is the heaviest weighing factor when determining if somebody truly is into you or truly likes you? Because I've heard women say, even some of my friends, is like, all the stuff you done did, like you wouldn't do that to somebody you don't like, right? And don't
Right.
really like, women think that sometimes, but it's like,
Yeah.
that's not really the case.
Maybe.
But do you see that?
I think I have to answer that in 2 ways. The short
Okay.
answer is yes, for most of the time for a younger
Younger.
woman. Yes, for a younger woman, a lot of it is very very much based on that feeling of like euphoria and just like the stuff that he's doing, even very specifically sex. Like, we got to keep it funky. We got to keep it honest. That stigmatizing, for lack of a better term, that happens sometimes is a very real thing. It happens. And it's like, oh, I'm so mesmerized by this. And then, oops, you look up and it's like, damn, that's really actually all that we have. But it's also sometimes the things that are being said. But a mature woman, and usually that comes with some age, is going to align those things with actual actions. Like, okay, you say this, but what are you doing? Or you could be genuine in how you act towards me. But once we start talking about things like money, it's nothing that you really need to say. I need to see it. Like we need to sit down and talk about it. Like, this is, I like you and all. You're cute and all. I love the way you make me feel. You're very thoughtful. You hold space for my emotions and all of that. But that's one compartment. When we start talking about sharing financial responsibilities, that it doesn't, that piece of it is irrelevant to, can we financially live together? Can you financially sustain the bills in my household, or can I financially sustain the bills in your household? Like, that is a bit more of an emotionless process. Your
Hmm.
desire to commit to the person might help drive that. Like, this is like you, like, this is my spouse, this is my wife, so I want to financially support her dreams, or financially support just her needs because she's my wife. But that still requires logic. Like, you may want to do something, but can you actually do it? Once the rubber meets the road, your the feelings and the bedroom action, none of that stuff matters when we get to talking about leases and electric bills and savings accounts and car notes. Like, because I can't pay any of those things with your emotions. I can't call Pepco and be like, "Hey, blew my back out last night. Can I pay y'all with that?" I can't. They for money. So I think maturity has brought me to that conclusion, because certainly the first time I lived with someone, I was 27, and we did have a very short and brief conversation around money, but it was not enough, and I regret it. Not regret it, but I went through a lot for not taking the proper steps to really vet that situation.
Mm,
Just
makes
did.
sense.
Yeah. Um, I want to move into the part of her scenario, right, where she talks about looking through his phone and seeing that she found some things in the phone, that she found a photo of him with his ex, which it sounds like it was a, I don't know if she said he was standing behind her. Let me not get caught up on that. I was like, were they
Yeah, it was standing
posed?
behind her while she in lingerie. I
I
don't
was like,
know.
were they posed together, or was he sitting in the background? And it, like, I'm trying to figure out what kind of photo this was. But anyway, um, and that, he was messaging his ex about, you left your blanket at my mom's house, which is given like, come get your blanket and come, come see me or whatever. And she talks about that kind of raising up insecurity in her. But I feel like it's a combination of things. For me, it more so read as an intuition, like something came up in her to make her want to go pursuing, looking for what was happening inside of his phone. And I do not support, and I do not think that anybody should go into anybody else's devices. I just think it's a violation of their privacy, even with them being your partner. But I think if you have a desire to do that, it's not necessarily just your insecurity. I think a lot of times it's something going on that is telling your intuition something is in there, and I want to find out about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you walk and your knee hurt, you gotta go see what it is, right? If you come down with a sneeze or a cough, you gotta go see what it is, right? I mean,
Mhm,
it's just a natural reaction for we set aside wrong or right, right?
mhm,
Privacy or not. It's like if you are giving a doing certain behaviors that seem fishy or don't seem aligned with
mhm.
what you say our relationship is, that is going to trigger some type of
A little
investigation,
investigation.
right?
Yes.
And the thing is, like, we see it in every TV show we watch that's true crime, anything like that. It's like, if you ain't got nothing to hide, you ain't nothing to worry about anyways, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, if you look through it first, like, why did you do that without asking me? But if you ain't find nothing, there ain't nothing there, so it's no issue. People
And I
always
think
say,
that's really when the conversation opens up on insecurity, right?
yeah,
Like, when there was
exactly.
nothing that pushed you to that, you may have some trust issues. You went in there, found nothing. Your partner is not even giving that they're doing anything. You're just doing that. That is insecurity for sure.
Exactly. And I mean, your intuition is there to protect you, right? That's
Mhm,
it's we say intuition, but it's also instincts, right? It's
mhm,
it's that instinctual thing within you to protect you. And it's not, when it comes to protection, it's not always just physical. We are emotional beings. We do things to protect our emotions.
yeah.
So it's like, you already know what this situation is, the person that you're with, and the fact that you looked and found something, right, just shows that your intuition was probably right. But then what will happen is that you can have an intuition, but because you don't stand strong in that intuition and in your instinct, you can have a partner who can manipulate you into thinking that it's actually an insecurity,
Mhm.
right? So then they'll have you thinking like, oh, you just don't trust me, you just don't do that, and make it seem like that insecurity that they're just uncovering about you in this moment is actually what drove them to do the thing that they did in the first place.
Ooh, you wanna talk about gaslighting? If we're gonna use the term correctly, that, my friends, is in fact gaslighting.
And
For
that's the thing,
sure.
is that it's so, and I hate to say this, but it's typically so easy to do with young women, right?
Mhm,
Like, even as a senior in college, right? If you messing with a freshman, fresh off the boat, 19 years old, first time in college, like, it's much easier to, now they would be more of a headache, right? They want a relationship and they might, be super clingy, but the ability to manipulate and like frame things a certain way and like make something
Mhm.
seem like this, like it's just a lot easier because it's just you're young, right? You don't know, you haven't experienced anything, you don't know what holes to watch out for, what roads not to go down. So it's like
Mhm.
unfortunate, but I think a lot of this is just her youth of just like not understanding what she's actually seeing, and also the hope that this man at some point will turn it around. So anything positive that he says or anything that can recover or save the relationship, she wants to believe, right? She
Yep.
wants to believe is true. She wants to think that he will change and be the man that she wants him to be. So it's like when you have all those factors put together, it makes it very tough for you to overcome a situation like that.
It's very true, and the reason that and listen, I've had my fair share going in phones, y'all. I'm definitely talking about it on this show. I've had my fair share of it, but what I learned over time is that that feeling is enough for me to know that something's going on. If I have that feeling, that means that there's behaviors, you're doing something. I notice that you're in your phone a lot, or how you are interacting with your phone is giving off an indication that you're talking to that's not your buddy, that's not your mom. Like you know the signs. You can see the signs, or you can feel it when the stories don't add up, or um certain behaviors. A lot of times people that are cheating or being manipulative, they tell on themselves as much as they try to be careful or say they try to be careful. I have friends who have found condom wrappers who got messy, and the woman wound up reaching out because she went in the phone. The situations normally reveal themselves without you even having to go digging. But I say all that to say, if you just have the feeling to go digging, that's usually your, like you said, your intuitiveness that's telling you something is going on here. And to me, instead of going in the phone, it is a time to just approach and simply say, like, I have this feeling. And listen, the person might lie to you, so they're not just, you know what, I
Not
am
they might,
cheating.
they probably will.
They probably will, but once you strengthen your discernment and have a better pulse on how to have conversations with people, understanding body language, figuring out how to ask certain questions, and pay attention to not just what's coming out of their mouth, pay attention to their body, pay attention to what they say, pay attention to how they say it. Are they answering the questions, or are they proposing questions to your questions? Or why are you asking me that? Or where is that coming from? Or why are you always doing this? Like Dre said, essentially making you think you're crazy, which is gaslighting. If they're not saying, no, I'm absolutely not doing that, and I want to understand where you're getting it from, or I'm not doing that and I'm happy to show you that I'm not doing that, or am I giving you some sort of indication for why that's happening? It's just really important, because relationships are going to go through stuff. I have trust issues, right? Like that's one of my triggers. I have trust issues that started in my childhood, that also happened several times as a young woman. I was lied to and abandoned by my own father. Then I was lied to by men. I was cheated on and abandoned by men that I dated. And so I have this thing in me where when I'm dating someone, sometimes my mind will wander into thinking that this person is going to do the stuff that those guys did. Now, thankfully, through therapy and self-work and all the stuff that I continue to work on, I can check myself, right? I can discern and say, "Ooh, that's your trust issue peeking up. Is he really doing something, or is that your thing?" Like you, but I'm clear on that with myself. So I think it's really just taking time to try to mature in communication, to mature in comprehension, to mature in discernment, so that you aren't as easily manipulated. And the truth is, even when you're really good at it, some people are just better than you at the BS that they're doing. So it's nothing is 100%, but most of the time people aren't professionals. Even when you look at that story, the tender swindler, it was very obvious in many ways. He just found the perfect victim. He found the perfect victim.
Yeah, that's why I think the experience aspect is so important because
Mhm.
let's say anything were to ever happen and I was for whatever reason back single again, right? It would be to
Mm,
death do us part, right? That would be the
yeah,
only way.
yeah.
Um
You'd
so
be
let's say I
single
was
in heaven.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, but I say that to say is that I know what it feels like to love somebody, to have a real relationship, to have something committed. So it's like when I come across that now, I know how easy it's supposed to feel and go.
Yeah.
Like, but if you don't have that experience, you think it's supposed to, like, when you hear it's hard, it's tough, like we endured a lot, you think it's like a lot of that BS that you have to put up through,
Mhm.
when it comes to the commitment thing. But it's like, nah, like it shouldn't be this hard to to talk. If we're just talking about straight just committing to one another, it's like that ain't
Mhm.
your person if it's that hard when it comes to that. Like you should know your person is into you. It shouldn't even be a doubt. Like if
Mm.
there's another person, if they really care about you, if they
What the
into
kids
you,
say.
like it shouldn't be none of that. So it's like the fact that you're in a position where you even have to second guess, because that's the thing is that the goal, like I dated, my wife got cheated on with the man she was with before me.
Mhm.
She never looked through my phone or anything because the environment and the way I operated with her, the environment that I set with her, didn't even have it in her mind that I was going to even do something like that.
Yeah.
So she was like, I don't care about your phone. Because
Mhm.
one, my phone was open. I'll go places, leave it there. Hey, take
Mhm.
it, this, that. Not to even trying to prove anything, but just like, I ain't got nothing to
Yeah.
hide. But when you act like you got something to hide, then people won't think you got something to hide, right?
Yep. Yep. That's
So it's
it.
like then people's intuition start going off. It's like that's not normal. Why would
Mhm.
somebody do that? Why does every
Mhm.
time they go in the shower and go to the bathroom, or why when they went to run to the car and they realized they left their phone in the house, they ran back in the house just to go back to the car and come back in 30 seconds? Like it's like
Yeah.
then those started things type of things start to be like, something's a little off here.
Thumbs
But if
off.
you
Yeah.
create that environment to where it's like, I don't care, and it's like, girl, this you. Hey, new places. Hey, this my girl. Great to meet her. Like,
That's the other thing, like, even with the phone behaviors, like, all of the relationships that I've been in that weren't like, that wasn't happening, or at a point it wasn't happening, and that's how I knew that there was a difference. There was so much openness with even the use of the phone. You like, they would take the call in front of me or even be like, "Oh, yeah, I'm sitting here with Rhonda," like, "I'm sitting here with my girl." Like, it was never a thing of, oh, stepping away, even if it was a business call. He might look at me
mhm.
and be like, it's business, like telling me that it's business so that I
You can
know to
decide if
mute
you
the
want to walk
TV or
away or
exactly,
yeah.
or adjust myself, but never this like sneaky experience. And when their behaviors changed, that's when that was when that little signal was like, you ain't never did that before. Or like you said, why every time you literally get up to just go away for 2 seconds, you got to take the phone, or you lock the phone or flip the phone down, or you just do different things that start to say, this isn't adding up. We are such creatures of habit and pattern and routine. And when we start to break our routines, specifically to do bad things, that's why I say most of the time people will tell on themselves. All you have to do is pay attention. You really don't have to go launching investigations and all of that. One, because a lot of times that investigation can be even more harmful to you. Are you going to get the answer? Sure. Are you gonna probably sometimes find out more information than you want to find out? Probably, including lies that are sometimes told to the other person. Like, I've happened into messages where the pillow talking that was being, talked about was hurtful to me, in part because it was lies, just like saying I wasn't doing things. It's like, I'm totally doing that, but you're telling this person that so that you could get what you want out of them. Like, I didn't need to know that he was making me out to be a bad person. I just was trying to confirm that he was cheating, and boy did I get that and so much more. So yeah, just figure out how to be, or take practical steps and how to be just a person that leans more into their intuition and just pays attention to when things aren't going right. Like Dre said, you're not gonna have to question it when it's right. You're just not. The person is going to go out of their way to create comfort for you, to ensure that you know that you are a priority, you are their person. If you are having a tough day and you need their support, you're going to get that from them. And if they can't do that, a really good person is going to say, babe, today I don't have it. I don't have it to give to you. Like, I'm going to let you know that I don't have it to give to you so that you don't have to guess or I don't mistreat you through that process. Listen, I know you might need me today, but I also had a really, really tough day. Can we just maybe find a different way to be supportive to each other? Can we both just lay down? Child, I love to take a nap with my man. What? Let's go to sleep. Let's both just lay here and go head on to sleep. So that's what a good partner would do. That's what a good partner would do.
I agree.
um I want to move into her ultimate question, which is, was it me, or was she giving too much to the wrong person? But before we get into our thoughts on it, to the real lovers that are in the chat, would love to get your insight so we can share them at the end here. What do you think? Do you think it was her? Do you think it was him? Do you think it was a combination of the two? Let us know. So Dre, she's asking, was it really her? And I think doing the exercise of self-reflection is really good, right? It's a mature sign of trying to be in touch with your feelings and taking accountability, because sometimes you are the villain in the story. Sometimes it is in fact you. So one, kudos to you just for asking the question. But in your assessment, when you really look at it, what do you think? Do you think it was her? Do you think it was him?
It was both,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
that's a lesson for her in that in every relationship, 9 times out of 10, there are parts that both people play in the situation that
Hmm.
contribute to whatever the conclusion of that relationship is.
Hmm.
It's her in the sense that she had the ability and time to see how he was acting and seeing the behavior that he was putting forth, and had a choice to end it and not
Yeah.
put herself through that, right?
Hmm.
Even to say, I caught him texting his ex and standing behind her in lingerie, and I talked to him about setting boundaries. You living out my house. Like,
Let
ain't
me show you the
working.
boundary. Come to the door. That yellow line out there, I need you to go on the other side of it. That's the boundary.
Right? It's like, what are we talking about here? Right? It's like,
Mhm.
it ain't about setting a boundary. You in my house texting your ex, we ain't talking about a boundary. This it. But
That's
that's
it.
one of few things that probably should have happened already. So I think it's on her in the sense of, you allowed this behavior to continue, right? Because
Mhm.
if somebody does something and there is no consequences, right, then they think that that behavior either is okay or it's fine to do because there are no actual repercussions for their actions. Like, people need to understand that's at any level of child to adult to a pet. They need to know that certain actions have certain repercussions, and if they don't feel like an action has repercussions, they're going to continue to do that action.
Yeah,
You, Rhonda, and I'm not saying we're animals, you have dogs. If you dog is peeing in the house as a puppy and you have no repercussions for that, they're going to keep peeing in the house.
that's right.
Like, there has to be some type of repercussions for actions that are wrong. So it's like,
Mhm.
that's on you. You can't control him, but you can control yourself. And one thing that you can always do is exit a situation. That's
Whew.
always your ability to do that. So that part is on her. On him is, the manipulation aspect, right? It's just like, hey, I'm gonna stay here, mooch, 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 as much as I can,
Yep.
knowing that I don't necessarily want to be in a relationship with this woman. But because we're talking to our real lover who wrote in, I am going to put majority of this on you.
Mhm.
Again, because I'm talking to you, you're the one who wrote in, and you can't control anybody but yourself.
Yep.
And even what I saw and what he said that he wanted at the age that I think he is not far fetched. Like, I don't want attention. And that's real honest, like, that he said that, right? It's like, I
Mhm.
don't want the attention. I don't want to have that emotional connection with somebody. I want to be able to be available when I want to be available, and I want to be not to be available when I don't want to be available. That's understandable, right? Now, all the other stuff he did to maybe manipulate you and take from you isn't okay, but
Right.
somebody expressing that's where they are in their life is fine. And for, like I said, a man of that age, a young man of that age, that's pretty normal for him
Yeah.
to feel that way. But you have to accept that. And it's not necessarily anything that has to do with you. It's just where he is in his life. So that's the one thing I don't want you to put on yourself, is that you're somehow inadequate, or you're somehow not enough, or you're somehow, it's like, it's has nothing to do with that. He's making his choice for where, how he wants to live his life based off of where he is right now. You could do everything that you did everything you could. You offered your house, you did this, you tried to take care of him, you tried to elevate him. It's just not where he is in his life right now.
Yeah.
So I don't want you to put that on yourself, but what I do want you to take into consideration moving forward, and that is in your control, is you have the control to leave a situation, and
Mhm.
you have the control to choose the situation that's going to be best for you.
Mhm.
So take those things into your power and use them.
That's it. I so agree with Dre. I wanna just say mostly ditto, but, just to piggyback on that, I think it's obvious that, certainly we can say if he knew that he didn't wanna commit, or he knew that he just didn't wanna be bothered with someone, he shouldn't have agreed to live with you, right? He should have maybe noticed that you were doing, quote, unquote, "too much." You were leaning into acting more like a supportive girlfriend who would naturally want emotional support or any other type of support when you're giving so much of yourself. But as Dre said, he was showing you that that's not what he wanted. He was showing you that from that whole little first vacation, and then he broke up with you after that, because he said he don't want to stay up on the phone and talk to you late at night, and he doesn't want to help you with your schoolwork, or help you prepare for school or whatever. He has been giving you, based on the information you shared, he has been giving you indications that he was not someone that was truly interested in commitment, and or in commitment to you. And regardless of whether he wants commitment in his life in general or to you, all that matters is you in this situation. And so, was it you? Yes. But was it are some of the actions you did perfectly fine for the right person? 100%. The right man is going to love a woman like yourself that would be willing to sacrifice, or say, "Hey, baby, I'm going to support you while you go back to school and get your degree, because I'm doing the same thing." And so I understand that maybe you're just in a better situation. Maybe you're in a less aggressive program where you can work while you go to school and he can't. The right man needs that type of woman. The right man is able to support a woman who goes and does such amazing work. Whatever you do for a living, where you're giving your time to children in foster care. I can understand how emotionally vexing that can probably be, but the man for you is also going to understand that and hold space for you, to bring your spirits up when you get home, and lean into your goofiness and try to bring your spirits up. So sometimes it's really not so much about you being too much. Sometimes it's that you're too much for the wrong person. And the best thing to do in that situation is to leave it, right? Is to exit. Relationships are not jail sentences, okay? They should not feel anything like that. You should not feel like you are doing time. Okay, like, I'm in this, I'm trapped in this, I can't get out of this, especially when you are not legally bound to the person. Some marriages do feel like doing time. When it's time to leave them, sometimes the financial and legal obligations to one another can be really, really hard to get out of. But not when it's just a boyfriend and girlfriend, and you're only bound by your lease agreement that he wasn't even on. All you have to do is give him a little notice, honey. And if he won't leave after that notice, couple, maybe $200 to go through the rest of the process to get him out your house. You know what I'm saying? So this is not a jail sentence. And if it feels like that, it is not the right relationship for you. So I am very proud of you for being in therapy now and working on yourself, figuring out your self worth and building your confidence. And whatever it is that has it low, that even led you to be in this situation, separate from your age, because I believe it's more than just your age. Um, Therapy is going to help you with that. Therapy helped me with that, to figure out what had my self esteem in the toilet, why I was willing to accept certain things from men because I was so desperate for love from my dad. All that stuff is going to come up in therapy. So you are definitely taking the right steps. My only additional piece of advice to you, is the last thing I'll say, is give yourself some time before you jump into the next thing. That's it. Have fun, and all of that. But give yourself some time, because you can easily get back into the cycle of doing this again with the same guy that just has a different approach. Okay. So because he can come back in lots of forms. This guy you were just dating. He can manifest in a bunch of different ways. So give yourself some time to get stable with you before you go jumping into something else.
Yeah, no, that's great, Rhonda. And something that you said just made me want to add this last point and made me think about this, especially being younger, is
Mhm.
like some people don't know how to help the people they care about.
Mm,
So when they go to help them, they just do the thing that seems like the immediate need in that moment.
they enable
But
them.
yeah, but that it's typically is a symptom and not the root issue, right?
Mhm.
And I could see a reason why it seems like you've had a relationship with this person. Y'all built together, build a relationship over time. That sometimes if somebody's down bad or trying to figure out life, you use the excuse that, I just care about this person a lot and I don't want them to suffer, or I don't want them to be in a situation where they could be hurt, or, I want to help them get a leg up. But a lot of times in that we're not even equipped to help somebody in a lot of situations, because what needs to be addressed is the root issue, but what we can typically do is help with the symptoms, right? So
Mhm.
it's like, even when Bree moved in with me, when we first started our relationship, I was like, I'm not paying your bills, right? And she was like, I see you got the money, you giving people this, you donating money here. But I was like, if I give you $1,000 this month, what happens next month? I gotta
Mhm.
give you another thousand. Then what happens? Like, your issue is you don't know how to manage your money.
Yeah.
So me giving you money is not going to help with the root issue of the problem. You need to learn how to manage your money. So it's like, luckily in that point in my life, I was mature enough to understand what the root cause of that was, right? At least to
Mhm.
that point, to know like, all right, I'm not just going to keep giving money, but a lot of situations it is that, right? I'm gonna keep
Yeah.
giving you money. I'm gonna keep giving you money. I'm gonna keep giving you money. I'm gonna give you a place to stay. I'm gonna give you a place to stay. I'm gonna give you a place to stay. And it's like, you're doing it because you care about them and you want them to, have a place and not be down bad, but you don't understand you're not actually helping them. Like,
Yeah.
you're not actually giving them the best chance to succeed in the long run. You're
Yeah.
just enabling and masking the actual issue. So that's one thing I just want to add, is that, when you care about people, you have to make sure you are first understanding what the implications of helping somebody truly means and what
Mhm.
that looks like, but also know that you probably aren't capable in a lot of situations to address and help them work through the root issue of their problem. They probably do need to receive help, and do need to see a professional to unpack a lot of those things. Even in yourself, you can't even do it for yourself, right? It's hard to even unpack the root issues for your own self.
For
So how
sure.
you gonna do it for somebody
Who
else?
you think you are? Yeah, facts. Well, listen, we hope that we were able to help you. Thank you so much for writing, and we really appreciate it. And wishing you well on your journey. I feel like it's almost good that you had this at this age, and hopefully it saves you some time and some money and some energy and some heartbreak going forward. Shout out to our real lovers that were in the chat tonight: Gloria, Michaela, the real Sakash, and Brandon. We appreciate the love and the support. We need more of it from you. So be sure to follow us on social media. I'm at Ronnie Cakes.
As Dre Smith.
And be sure to follow the network page at Relationship Restored. Join the community. It is free to join. We have a good time in the community. We are so supportive to each other. I just love going in and getting a moment of like encouragement and our like prayer channel, where we put out what we need prayers for. It's just a good vibe. So please come and join the community. It's a safe space, and we need more of you there.
Mhm.
And what else? Am I missing anything? I feel like
No,
I'm
that's
missing.
all.
No, that's it. All right. And if you have a real life scenario, go to the website. That's what it was. Right into the show. We want to help you too. We'll talk to you next time.
Peace.